What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel and my podcast, The World Wide Web of Lending. I'm your host. My name is Joe Webb. This is actually session 0. This is the first podcast I'm ever recording, and I thought that before I start having guests on and talking to people about what they do and what I do, that it'd be cool to kind of introduce myself first. So, number one, this is the first one. It's probably going to be the most desirable for conditions. There's some shadows behind me. I've got a bunch of lights. I'm in my basement. I actually have a bar in my basement. I'm in the basement and I'm having some fun. So I've got some family around the house that aren't going to come down here, but might hear some running around upstairs or some weird noises because I'm at home. And that'll get better too. But anyway, I made a podcast studio in my basement because I've always had a dream of talking to people and inviting them to have a conversation about something they feel comfortable. And I've always wanted to know what platform could kind of scratch that itch. And it's 2025 now. In the beginning, January 6th, 2025. The culture's kind of shifting on how people share information and connect with each other. Social media is a big part of that. But when Google bought YouTube and I started doing a couple searches and seeing YouTube videos pop up before even sponsored videos, I started kind of reading the tea leaves that there's a new way to communicate and it's got to go through YouTube, excuse me. But I always want to do a podcast because I always like to talk. It's never going to be a problem for me. But I wanted to know, what would be the good platform to do it in? And I have been a mortgage loan officer since 2001. It's a long time. But I learned a couple years ago that connecting people to each other is a really great resource for them and for me, just to say hi, have a conversation they're comfortable about, put them together. But the network of people in my sphere of influence is wide and vast. I have a lot of people in my network that have nothing to do with lending or mortgages or buying a house, but they've got really cool businesses they work really hard at. They support their families. And I was always trying to find a way to connect them. So starting today, I'm going to be just connecting any audience that I can create with local business owners. I'm going to start in Harford County and Baltimore County and Cecil County in Maryland, where I live. And who knows, one day I'll be talking to somebody about the West Coast. But for right now, I've reached out to some folks through Facebook and social media, just asking if anybody wanted to come on and have some fun. And I got a lot of pretty cool responses and a lot of fear and anxiety about jumping on the camera. So we'll see how that works. But from time to time, again, I'm going to do my own thing and come in individually. But you'll see some cool guests come and introduce themselves, what they do, what made them start a business, and how their journey's been, and how we can help them grow, and what their customers look like. Maybe some of you watching or listening will have a need for their services, and if that can happen once in an entire year, then I'll feel pretty special for them. Hopefully along the way, they consider me as a resource and a connector, and if somebody says something about home buying, then they know they got a guy. So I'm your guy. Anyway, with that being said, let's just kind of get into it. So I am 43 years old. I have lived in Maryland my entire life. Jumped out of college, had a couple of small jobs, retail sales, and then found my way into the lending industry. Started off as wholesale, which means that my customers were other banks, and the bank I worked for wanted to create a relationship with them. Met an incredibly amazing woman who I will be inviting on this show. Hopefully she accepts. Became my first mentor, kind of changed the way that I looked at the world. And something inside of me started to shift. My career began to change. Then I transitioned into retail sales, worked for some version of the same company because they changed names when all the world was changing a couple times. Found some better owners that cared about them and their customers. But I worked for the same company for basically 17 years. And about a year ago, in December of 2023, I decided that I wanted to do something bigger and increase my scope. But I just didn't have the platform that I needed at that company. I think nothing ill will about that company or the folks that I work with. They're a huge part of my life. But now I'm just ready to kind of spread my wings and fly, so to speak, metaphorically speaking. So I'm looking to have a lot of fun. I love meeting people, talking to folks. And I've always had a gift to just make a person feel comfortable having a conversation. It's helped me a lot in my career. Met some really fantastic people. And I hope that you get to meet some of them too. So I'm going to keep this short, have some fun, and I really hope that you enjoy the podcast. I will be putting up an audio only on Spotify at some point, but my goal right now is to kind of just get started and kind of learn as we go. So hopefully you can enjoy what I'm offering without the realization hiding that I don't have a professional atmosphere yet. We'll get there at one point. So the camera angles are going to be light, and the light will be extreme. But I hope what we're talking about is more important than the way it looks. So um, let's get started, man. So thank you very much for being here. The worldwide of lending is not necessarily about home buying, lending, and mortgages, but that is what I do for a living. I'll kind of flirt back and forth between that, but ultimately the goal is to connect people, have some fun, meet some people that I didn't have a more than a single or light connection with, and kind of develop that relationship as you guys get to see that, and then hopefully again make their business one customer stronger, or if God willing, a lot of folks can see it and help grow their business. That would be a beautiful thing. So thank you. Check back in regularly. I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. It is not going to be boring. I'm going to keep everything fresh. There will be some mortgage specific videos with some realtors. I have a few episodes of a series that I'm creating, but ultimately I just want this to be a place where you can kind of learn something and have some fun too. So hope to see you there, and I'll catch you on the next episode.